The end of the planet chapter 1 named Yizun. The stars are immortal and will last forever. On an unknown, desolate planet, darkness shrouds everything at this time. Only the two robes made of friction sound as the wind blew. Through the slightest light, two figures could be faintly seen standing here. They looked up, and somehow, despite the lack of light in the sky, they seemed to still be able to see the colorful universe. Have you decided? Someone said at this time. If it were during the day, you would definitely see this person with a handsome appearance, a gentle face, wearing a white robe, a tall figure with long white hair, like a noble. The man next to him was not as handsome as the man in white robes, but he was no different. His resolute face exuded piercing eyes, as if he could see through the void. Hearing his brother's inquiry, Yi said without hesitation, "Yes, since I have obtained the Gate of Reincarnation, it is an arrangement of fate. The universes in all directions are exploring the mysteries of chaos, and no one has completely cracked it for hundreds of millions of years. This Gate of Reincarnation is the rumored secret treasure that is most likely to unlock the mysteries of chaos. Since it has been born into the world, it must have its reason. I cannot give up once it is in my hands." When the man in white robe heard this, his face showed bitterness. "Okay, I know. Even if I try to persuade you, you still can't listen to me because of your personality, so I can only wish you good luck." Yi looked solemnly and said, "Well, I won't be able to hide the news about the Gate of Reincarnation for long. After I leave, they will definitely come looking for me. I'll leave this place to you, Xiao Bai. I'm here, don't worry." Hearing this, Yi said nothing more, but patted Bai's shoulder heavily, looked at him heavily, and then turned around and stepped into the door of reincarnation. Earth. In a very dark night, a baby was born quietly. 18 years later, Raojiang County, northeastern Heilongjiang Province, is a remote small border county. Although June in the northeast is not as humid and hot as in the south, it still has a high temperature of 30 degrees. For northerners who are accustomed to the cold, it can be considered as being in a big furnace. The college entrance examination has just ended, a turning point in life. Some are happy and some are sad. Even if the test results have not yet come out, most students know roughly what score range they are in. Students who feel that they have done well in the exam will naturally start to think about how to travel and vacation to relax, while students who feel that they have not done well in the exam are starting to worry about how to find excuses to explain to their families. This is what happens every year. Of course, these are not things that Yizun needs to consider. The score in the mock test has never been lower than 720. No matter where he is, this is a score that people look up to. When we walked out of the school gate, there was already a sea of people outside. Every parent was standing at the fence, waiting expectantly for their children. Although he was used to all this, Yizun's nose was still a little sore when he saw his classmates rushing towards his parents one by one. He is an orphan. 15 years ago, when he was 3 years old, his parents died in a car accident. He was raised by his aunt's family. But the good times didn't last long. When he was 6 years old, his aunt's family also died in a car accident, leaving only Yizun alone. From that time on, he became an evil star in other people's mouths, a man who harmed his parents and loved ones. For this reason, he has few friends at school, and many parents have warned their children to stay away from him. Of course, right and wrong are not absolute, and people who don't care about such futile ideas naturally don't have those concerns. Just when Yizun was still dazed, an arm was put around his neck, and a familiar voice came. "Old Yi, what are you waiting for? Let's go to my house to celebrate. My parents are preparing food. I have finally passed high school." Yizun turned around and saw that there were two more people beside him. They were his close friends over the years, and Yifeng and her sister and Mingxua. "Come out? How did you two do in the exam?" Yizun asked with a smile. "Hee, with your help, although I can't catch up with you. My score of over 600 is still stable, no pressure." And Yifeng said with a smile. Yizun nodded. What about you, Schwer? He is definitely taller than my stupid brother, but of course not as good as you, Brother Yi. And Mingxue hugged Yizun's arm and said with a smile, Hey, sister, have you ever said that about your brother? I'm not really stupid. And Yifeng protested. Let's wait and see when you surpass Brother Yi. And Mingxue said naughtily, sticking out her tongue. Forehead. Okay, let us go. Yizun interrupted the two brothers and sisters who were bickering with each other every day and took the lead. Didn't I say that Uncle and Anan are still waiting at home? This Uncle An's name is in Qingshan. He is the father of the two brothers and a neighbor of Yizun's family. Although having a house and an inheritance made Yizun not worry about life, without the constant care of Qingshan's family over the years, Yizun's life would probably be a mess. Others said that Yizun was an evil star and stayed away from him, but Qingshan's family never cared about this. As the saying goes, distant relatives are not as good as close neighbors. Now that Yizun has no known distant relatives, and Qingshan's family can be said to be Yizun's only relatives. Within a few minutes, the three of them had arrived at the door of Anne's house, and Yizun didn't go home either, even though his home was right next door. Mom and Dad were back, and Yifeng opened the door and shouted hurriedly, Xiaofeng, Xiaoxue are back. Where is Xiaoya? A middle-aged woman came out of the back room and looked at it and said, Aunt En, I'm here. Yizun from behind looked over and smiled. Aunt En stretched out her hand to greet her. Come in, dinner is ready. Come on. Put the cooked food on the table, and everyone sits together. Anyone with a discerning eye will know at a glance that the meal is good. Barbecue, beer, crayfish, and other delicious food. It's quite rich. And Yifeng said with a smile, Mom and Dad, are you going to reward me? Haha. And Qingshan rolled his eyes at his son. Is this prepared for you? This is for Xiaoya. Don't flatter yourself. Don't you know that you have benefited from Xiaoya? Without Xiaoya's guidance for so long, how could you have reached your current level? How did you not know what to do before? And Yifeng giggled. He knew that his father was right. He was only at the level of more than 400 points before. Yizun waved his hand and said modestly, Uncle En, don't say that. Yifeng's current level is the result of his hard work. I'm just a little help. And Qingshan nodded with satisfaction. Here, and Yifeng was munching crayfish and said with a nonchalant expression, Hey, who is following the other? Lao Yi and I. What's Lao Yi? Lao Yi. Xiao Yi is half a year older than you. You should call everyone brother, no matter how big or small they are. Anton picked up the chopsticks and tapped in Yifeng's head and said gently, That's right. And Mingxue coaxed from the side. Ouch, I'm not alive. You are all bullying me. Seeing everyone attacking him, and Yifeng covered his head and said miserably. Everyone laughed. The meal was lively for more than an hour before it was over. After finishing the meal and cleaning up, Uncle and Aunt Em were going to go for a walk, while Yifeng went back to the house to sleep. This guy can drink and sleep, and he can't wake up without being drunk. Although Yizun and Mingxue also drank some, they were not as much as he drank. Seeing an Yifeng go into the room to sleep, Yizun also planned to go back and have a good sleep. After the exam, fatigue suddenly came over him. Brother Yi, let me see you off. Seeing that Yizun was about to leave, and Mingxue stood up quickly. No need. I don't drink as much as your brother, just 2 steps. Yizun shook his head. It's okay, just treat it like I took a walk to sober up. And Mingxue insisted. That's okay. Indeed, it only took 2 steps to walk into Yizun's house. After entering the house, Yizun walked towards the tea table. Aunt En usually comes over to help clean up, so the house is not messy at all. Schwer, why don't you drink some tea to relieve the hangover, and scrape the oil in your belly, by the way? Yizun took out the tea leaves and said with a smile, Humph, you're the only one with a small belly, and you're the only one with a full belly. It sounds like you have touched it, and Ming Xue said with a puffy face. Yizun looked at Shuer with a smile, and suddenly he was stunned. He was usually with the two brothers and sisters, and Anifeng was always blabbering, so he really didn't have the chance to take a good look at Shuer. The 18-year-old girl is in her youthful moment. Her perfect body proportions and bright face are the best. In addition, it is the hot season, and the girls are wearing short skirts. Their two smooth long legs are clearly hooking people's heartstrings. They also add a bit of color, making Yizun look pleasing to the eye. Seeing Yizun's eyes twinkling and looking at where he was looking at her, and Ming Xue realized what she had just said and her face turned slightly red. "What are you looking at? Big pervert." And Ming Xue gently kicked Yizun and said shyly, "Cough, cough." When he came back to his senses, thinking of how embarrassed he had just been, Yizun hurriedly coughed twice to cover up. "What about black tea and green tea? Which one do you want?" "You big pervert. If you don't want to drink, I want to drink, so you drink with me." And Ming Xue pretended to be angry. Shuer, you still need to drink. It's not good to drink too much. And why am I a big pervert? I haven't done anything." Yizun complained in his heart. "Just drink. If you don't drink, you are a big pervert. You are a big pervert just like my stupid brother. He used to secretly watch pornographic films when his parents were not at home. I know that, and you must have watched them too, so you are a big pervert." "Ah," Yizun said helplessly. "I really haven't seen it." "I don't care. Either you drink with me, or if you don't drink, I will tell my parents that you bullied me and touched my belly. Can a girl's belly be touched casually?" And Ming Xue acted like a rogue. Okay, but if you drink too much, go back quickly. It's not good for you to be drunk here. Uncle, and will have to blame me then." Helpless, Yizun had no choice but to take out a few bottles of beer from the refrigerator, and at the same time, he did not forget his instructions. "Yeah." And Ming Xue nodded in agreement after taking the beer. Then, Yizun went to the kitchen to get a plate of cucumbers and peanuts to go with the wine. "Hey, thank you for your hard work, Brother Yi, the big pervert." Forehead. Yizun was speechless. "Okay, I can't get rid of the 3 characters big pervert. Hee, I won't tease you anymore. Let me ask you something serious." And Ming Xue took a sip and said seriously, "What?" Yizun was confused. "Have you decided where to repay?" After asking, and Ming Xue looked at him expectantly. "Probably Tsinghua University or Peking University. These 2 are the best in the country." Yizun thought for a while and said, "Oh." And Ming Xue looked a little disappointed. She knew that no matter how good her score was, it would not be enough to get into these 2 prestigious schools. But, and Ming Xue's eyes lit up. "However, it's not that we don't consider foreign ones. I also want to go out and have a look." Yizun did not see a trace of disappointment in Ming Xue's eyes and continued. "There are also many good schools abroad, and some of them are ranked higher than the 2 domestic ones. If you have the opportunity, it is better to go out and have a look. As far as the current situation is concerned, I think." Yizun continued to talk. After talking for a while, he found that Ming Xue was lying on the table in a daze. She must have drunk too much. He picked up Ming Xue's wine bottle and shook it. He found that the bottle was empty. He didn't know when this girl finished drinking. Volume 1. The end of the planet chapter 2 maybe, because of the wine. Looking at Ming Xue lying on the table, Yizun didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's not okay for him to be clamoring for a drink even with his drinking capacity. Yizun smiled, but after thinking about it again, it wouldn't be good to just let her lie here. It would be better to send her back. Without worrying about anything, Yizun bent down and stretched out his hands to pick her up. Hey, Yizun was stunned. She was lighter than expected. Because of the princess hugging position, and Ming Xue's short skirt slid down from the top, inadvertently leaking a touch of black, and the light fragrance of her body made Yizun's face turn slightly red. Pushing the door open, he found that the door next door had been closed. He had forgotten whether it was closed when he left. However, because Mingxue was wearing a short skirt, he couldn't put the key in. Yizun had no choice but to hold her in his arms and knock on the door to check. Duum, duum, duum. After knocking for a long time, there was no response inside. It seemed that Uncle and Anton were not back yet. That fool in Yifeng was probably asleep and couldn't hear anything at all. There was no other way, so Yizun had no choice but to hold her and return home. Walking to the back room, he gently put Mingxue on the bed and covered her with a thin quilt. Yizun also planned to lie down on the sofa for a while. As soon as he turned around and was about to leave, he realized that his sleeve was being gently pulled. At this time, "Don't go." 2 words slowly came out of Mingxue's mouth. Yizun turned back to look at her. "Will you stay with me?" Another voice came. Yizun looked into her eyes, slightly confused with a clarity and a hint of stubbornness. The fragile girl in my impression changed. "Brother Yi, please stay with me. Did you know? I like you. A long time ago. Maybe because of love, maybe because of wine, maybe, Boom. There's a black space here, glowing with starlight, and through the light, you can vaguely see the shadow of a door. Under the door, a black-haired boy lies quietly. Wake up, wake up." From the door, there came a series of low calls. It can be considered as recognizing a lord. This is a stupid setting. If you don't recognize the lord, you can't communicate. Forehead. The black-haired young man's eyes moved, and he slowly opened them. He sat up with his hands on the ground, looked at the darkness in front of him, and murmured to himself, where is this? This is my void space." A voice came from above. Who is there?" the black-haired young man exclaimed. "I am the weapon spirit of the Gate of Reincarnation." "The Gate of Reincarnation? What is that?" I'll restore your past life memory first, and you'll know it naturally. Go ahead." As he said this, a stream of light flew over and entered Yizun's mind. On the familiar deserted land. Since I have obtained the Gate of Reincarnation, it is an arrangement of fate. The universe in all directions has been exploring the mysteries of chaos, and no one has completely cracked it for hundreds of millions of years. The Gate of Reincarnation is the rumored secret treasure that is most likely to unlock the secrets of chaos. Since it has been born into the world, it must have its reason. I cannot give up once it is in my hands. I won't be able to hide the news about the Gate of Reincarnation for long. They will definitely come after I leave. I'll leave it to you, Xiao Bai. Scenes from his past life kept impacting his brain, and the huge memories swelled him in severe pain, causing him to cover his head with both hands and groan. After a while, the moaning stopped. Yizun seemed to have absorbed it all. He touched his face and said dully, "So, is this the case?" There was a hint of disbelief in his tone. After a pause, Yizun shouted, "Gate of Reincarnation, you said this is a void space? The most dangerous void space in the universe? Why am I here?" "Well, I'm too lazy to explain. You'd better see for yourself. This is the complete memory of the 18 years since your reincarnation." The previous voice came, followed by another stream of light flying past. When he was 3 years old, Yizun's parents took little Yizun on a self-driving trip on the highway. Suddenly, a dark force erupted from little Yizun's body, causing everyone to lose themselves briefly. In this short period of time, a car accident occurred. The spirit of the Gate of Reincarnation pulled little Yizun into the void space at the critical moment. At the same time, it sucked away the overflowing power of darkness. After the crisis, he was sent back to where he was. When he was 6 years old, The same situation happened, and it was also the Gate of Reincarnation that helped little Yizun in a critical moment. Just now, Yizun failed to control his desire and couldn't help but have sex with Mingxue. At the critical moment of the final explosion, the power of darkness in his body spurted out again. This time, the scope was larger than usual, covering the entire Ruojiang County and even partially spread to the border of Russia. At this moment, the Gate of Reincarnation took action again, sucking everything in and saving everyone. Emotions, those people were really right. It was really me who killed my family. Yizun looked bitter. Okay, think about it. They are ordinary people after all, and they don't have such a big destiny to become your elders. Besides, now that you have awakened your previous memories, you can naturally control your own power, and such a thing as power overflow will not happen. The Gate of Reincarnation advised. Upon hearing this, Yizun became even more sullen. Since you know what's going on, why didn't you tell me all this earlier? Gate of the Void looked disdainful. Oh,